So, INEOS Grenadier Mount, Winch Mount, we've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of interest on this. So, the INEOS Grenadier, there's two vehicles. There's the ECE, European model, and then there's the rest of the world. So basically, if you're anywhere in Europe, you're going to need an ECE model vehicle or winch mount. If you're anywhere in the rest of the world, so Australia, North America, Africa, etc., then you've got a rest of the world vehicle. The winch mounts are slightly different because we're replacing quite a different front end on the vehicle, but both the mounts give you a tray of these dimensions, giving you the options to fit normal sized winches. The factory fit winch that we supply INEOS is a compromise on space to get it packaged into the vehicle, and we recognise there's a lot of people that want a winch that's not hidden, tucked away behind a cross member. They want something that they can actually see, easy to remove the winch, put back in again. And so this mount was created. I mean, the mount was created initially for the Royal National Lifeboat Institute for their vehicles, because after saltwater immersion, they wanted to be able to take the winch out, clean it all, and pop it back in again. So this is where we are with it. Now, the Grenadier, for the rest of the world model, basically you just replace this section in the centre because the bumper's built in three pieces. On the ECE model, the cross member, which creates the bumper, is a single piece right the way across. So you've got a support bracket on the left and on the right for an oil cooler and a radiator. I think it's that way around. So with the ECE model kit that we do, you get these brackets which bolt on here and they support the radiators. It does reuse all the factory fixings from that point of view because there's a couple of brackets and rubber isolators, etc. What we've tried to do is create a kit that you can fit without having to modify the vehicle permanently. The only thing that needs to be done is when you run the power cable through up to the control box, there's a plastic cover over one of the chassis rails where the hole for the factory cable to go through. It's about 1.5 mil thick, and you just need to drill a hole through that plastic for running the power cable through. So there's no permanent modifications to any of the body work. So you haven't got any corrosion issues with drilling metal, etc. It's a really comprehensive kit. It comes with these cover plates. It comes with all the fasteners. But there are a few options that you need to think about. First of all, power. Does your Grenadier have the high amp accessory package? Easy way to tell that, have a look up in the overhead panel. If there's a 500 amp switch, then it's got the high amp accessory package. What that means is that up behind the right hand headlamp, there is a winch isolator, which makes your life really simple for the wiring. So we supply the wiring kit, and the wiring is designed to run from your winch up through, pick up on the factory point. That's the same fir tree clip that we supply for the factory looms, and connect up to the M10 lug in the control box. You've also got the earth cable to run from the winch down to the earth stud on the right hand chassis leg as well, and that's all in the instructions. So that's the simple way. But if you use the isolator, then you are limited by the logic of the Grenadier. So the winch will only work when you've got the engine running, when you're in neutral reversal drive. It won't work in park. And as you probably know, the Grenadier has a habit of when you open the door, it puts itself into park, which can be a bit frustrating. So the other option is to wire it directly back to the batteries. So we also offer the option, if you haven't got the high amp accessory package, you don't want to use it, for a longer set of cables to run back to the batteries instead. With regards to what winches will fit, the most popular options are our Nomad winches. The Nomad with adventure gearing at 5.5 tons uses the same motor, the same control solenoid and the same gearbox as the factory fit winch. It's just a physically larger chassis. So a Nomad with standard drum will hold 30 metres of 11mm rope, as opposed to the factory winch, which is supplied with 15 metres of 11mm rope. Still 5.5 ton pull. It fits in here very nicely. This cutout here is for the standard drum. However, a number of people are now choosing to go for the XL drum, and we do offer this with the wider cutout and wider mounting hole positions for the XL drum Nomad. That takes you up to 48 meters of 11mm rope. You don't necessarily need to load 48 meters of 11mm rope onto the drum, but it gives you the option. All winches give maximum torque on bottom layer, so a wider drum means more bottom layer, longer you can pull for. So those are the most popular options. You can fit the Cobras, you can fit the King Cobra, you can fit the Explorers as well into here, but all of those winches require a onboard air supply on the vehicle, which the Grenadier doesn't have as standard. Many people are retrofitting that, and if you've already got a compressor on board, it gives you another option as well. Okay. Other options, we also offer the hitch mount. So that's hitch mount will mount on the underside here and give you the ability to have a second receiver hitch. Quite useful if you want to mount a drop plate or something on the front of the vehicle. A couple other key points. You've got parking sensor holes here. So if you've got parking sensors fitted, the original loom will run along and connect up so you don't lose those. You've got additional recovery points here, which give easier access to a recovery point compared to the Grenadier ones, which are tucked back underneath. It's supplied with all the fasteners, everything you need, full instructions. But if you've still got any questions, please feel free to drop us an email, give us a call. So when you go onto the website, you will see for when you select your winch, it says option 1, option 2, option 3. So it's in the text lower down, but to make things simple, option 1 is the standard drum winches. So standard drum Nomad, standard drum Explorer 3, standard drum Cobra 3, standard drum King Cobra. They all fit the same winch mount. Option 2 takes us out to the next size. So that would be the Nomad XL. You can't fit a Explorer 3 XL in here. The winch is just physically too wide to get in there. You would also be able to fit on the same mounting winch mount. You'd also be able to fit the Cobra 3 medium drum and King Cobra medium drum. And you can, if you want to, with the option 3, go right out to the King Cobra XL and Cobra 3 XL. Okay. So fitting wise, we offer a service. So you can come here and have it fitted. If you've got the high amp accessory package fitted, we need the vehicle for about 6 hours to tap into that and fit this, fit a winch, get it all commissioned for you. If you haven't got the high amp accessory package and we're having to run the cabling all the way to the battery box, realistically, we're going to need the car for about a day and a half, because to get into the battery box, because of the wonderful way that the Grenadier is designed, we have to take all the rear seat out and everything. There's a lot more stripping down, but there is the options to do that. If you don't fancy a trip to sunny Somerset to see us, we've got a couple of different partners around the country as well. If you need details, we should have them on the website, but alternatively, drop us an email or give us a call. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Certainly, sort of the Carlisle area, etc., is well covered. Hope that helps.